There are so many bad dads in Game of Thrones that I had to make a tier list of the worst ones. But just so I really get into the fatherly mood, every single time I say any variation of the word dad, an AI voice reads me a dad joke.
How come the stadium got hot after the game? Because all of the fans left.
We are gonna start with Mr. Balon Greyjoy. Let's go through some of the things that we've seen in the show that have showed his dadship, his dadhood, fatherliness.
You said daddy.
Oh, right, forgot.
Why did the kid cross the playground to get to the other slide?
That was that bad. How was that bad? I mean, the main stuff that we see about Balon is, well, a long time ago he gave up Theon as a ward, I think is what they call him, to the Starks in order to not, like, kill them all, I believe. The best dad probably wouldn't do that. So he's definitely not going to be in F tier.
You said daddy.
Right.
What is a centipede's favorite Beatles song? I want to hold your hand, 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 hand.
When does it stop? Oh, okay. But the biggest thing is when Theon came back to the Iron Islands, that man was a huge dick to him. Theon was literally like, bro, you gave me up as a son to these other people, and now you're mad that I'm acting like them? That makes no fucking sense. And Balon was like, you're a pussy. So that, I feel like that alone is putting him in like B tier of bad dads.
You said daddy.
Right. Yes,
My first time using an elevator was an uplifting experience. The second time let me down.
That being said, though, he's actually a pretty good dad as far as I can tell to Yara, which is unfortunate, and it's bad when you have like
you
two
said
children
daddy.
like that.
To be frank, I'd have to change my name.
Balon didn't even want to save Theon at all, and Yara, his sister, was the one who was like, no, let's go save him, and he was like, I don't give a fuck about him. He doesn't have a penis, and then he dies. So that's the worst thing you can do as a dad is die. No, I'm just kidding. He's somewhere between A and B. When I look at the rest of these characters, he's not nearly as bad as them. So I feel like I have to put him in B. Like, there's a lot of way worse people than him. Yeah, Craster is just awful. There's nothing good about Craster. I mean, he has like 50 incestuous daughters that he beats and rapes and does whatever the fuck he wants with because he's out in the woods. Craster is S for sure. Second of all, he feeds his fucking sons, his newborn sons, to White Walker demon ice kings. There was a lot of evidence showing that they were turned into other White Walkers. That seems to be what happens, but it's unclear. Are there baby White Walkers? We don't know because it never got answered in season 7 or 8. I need a dad joke in this sad time. Dad, daddy, Papa. Oh shit, that's a lot of jokes.
Daddy. You said daddy. Why does a moon rock
wait,
I
can't understand this. I didn't mean to do that. Stop. Wait. He is just straight up S tier. Terrible. Terrible dad. We're on to our first good dad, I think. Mr. Davos. He has many sons apparently, but the one son that shows up in the show, he seems to care about a lot, and he seems to try to, he at least talks about him well. He's clearly like trying to save him right before he dies. He clearly is very, very sad when his son dies. 2, I say that he's a father-like figure to Shireen for sure. He really, really loves Shireen. He says he loves Shireen. Like I'm pretty sure he says like she's like a daughter to me. And when she is burned at the stake.
You said daddy. What do you call 2 barracuda fish? A paracuda.
That's so bad. He always is there for Shireen. I'm not. There's not too much shown with him with his son or sons, but for Shireen, I think you can kind of extrapolate that he does nothing wrong. Davos always is very. He has a really strong moral compass, and he tries to do the right thing. He oftentimes is thinking about what is the right thing to do here. This man's never going to get CPS called him. His children are coming home for every holiday, giving him Father's Day gifts and everything else. Now, Oberyn. Oberyn is interesting. This one we probably go over pretty quick because Oberyn isn't really shown to deal with his children at all. Oh, look at that. All of his 8 bastard daughters, well, he had all daughters, all of whom he has acknowledged and given his love and care. This scene right here, when they went to see the monster Tyrion that was born, he was like, this isn't a monster, like, this is just a baby. He was like, why are you so, like, this is just a baby. Dwarves are heavily discriminated against. So for someone to have that kind of, not necessarily appreciation, but understanding kind of, is actually really good. We're going to go off of this one sentence as gospel for science, of course. We're going to go ahead and put him in F tier, even though he died. We can go on to our next zombie daddy. Yes! Why is Qyburn in here? Because of the mountain. This man is firmly in F tier for me. No arguments. He loves his creation so much. What's the definition of dad? What is the real definition of dad? A man in relation to his child.
You said daddy. What do you do on a remote island? Try and find the TV island it belongs to.
What is a child but another little science project? I think the logic is perfectly credible. We're leaving Qyburn in F tier of bad dadness. He loves the mountain and his zombie murderousness, and that's final, damn it. Moving on to Jaime. Jaime has many instances where he interacts with his children, but he can't do it openly. He's not super fatherly to them for the most part, but that's not really his choice. In fact, I think it's actually more caring that he doesn't treat them like his kids, because they would die instantly. It seems like he would love to interact with them more, but he doesn't do it because he wants to keep them safe. That's pretty cool of him. Unfortunate, but pretty cool of him. Unfortunate that he had incest babies in the first place, but hey. There's a scene where he's talking to Myrcella and she's like, oh, I know you're my dad, and like he was talking to her and trying to comfort her and everything right before she died. It was a really good scene. He was clearly
You said daddy. Whoever invented the knock-knock joke should get a Nobel Prize.
I'm good with C. Let's do Robert. This is a hard one, actually. So, he technically doesn't have any sons, right? He doesn't have any legitimate children. He does have a ton of bastards, and he doesn't give a shit about them. I mean, I don't think he's the worst. I don't think he's S tier. That's true. He does neglect pretty much everyone in his life. That's true. He does pretty much neglect everyone. One instance where he does something clearly dumb and like manly, whatever the fuck, is when Joffrey, in the first season, second episode or something, when Joffrey gets attacked by Nymeria because he's trying to like fuck with the butcher's boy. And then Robert looks at Joffrey and he's like, you let that girl disarm you. And then Joffrey's like, bro, I'm just a little kid. Like, fuck, man. It was a big-ass dog. Like, bro, come on. So that's one instance, I think, showing that Robert doesn't really care that much. He more cares about his image a little bit more, I think. And, like, you know, being a manly soldier fighter type person than his kids. I feel like he's more of a B, personally. Roose Bolton. What does he do with Ramsay, actually? There's a few scenes. Well, he won. Ramsay always actually looks up to Roose. Are there any scenes where he actually is treating him pretty poorly? There's a few scenes when they're in Winterfell. It's funny because Roose, I think, is kind of a bad guy. But he's not that bad of a father. He actually treats him with a lot of respect.
You said daddy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. The one thing I will say is he should have probably stopped Ramsay from being so sadistic. But at the same time, he's like, oh, let Ramsay have his fun, you know? Which is kind of cool. But I feel like he's going to fall somewhere in, like, maybe D even. Like, I would say, I'd probably put him in D. I mean, he's more of a dad than Jaime is, for sure. To his bastard, also. Like, he does actually treat Ramsay with respect. He treats him as his own person. He legitimized him. I feel like he's a little bit better than Jaime. But definitely nowhere near on Davos's fucking level. Or Qyburn. I mean, come on. Qyburn. Let's do Jorah real quick. Jorah, so he disowned his son Jorah for slave trade. Which is... I mean, I was going to say that's a good thing to do. Because he gave his sword to Jon. I feel like that's arguably a good dad move. Though, to be like, I'm taking away your toys because you did something bad.
Why couldn't the kid see the pirate movie? Because it was rated ARRR.
It's R. It's R. It's clearly R. I think he's a father figure to Jon, though.
You said Dad.
He gets some good discipline. He gives him some great advice about leading. But yeah, he makes him a steward because he more wants him to lead, which is a cool thing, I think. I feel like he is probably somewhere in the
You said Daddy. Man, I really love my furniture. Me and my recliner go way back.
Oh, some of these are pretty good. So, is it bad that I'm laughing at these? Does that make me not funny? Nah, I'm super funny. I think he's pretty sufficiently in F or D. I'm gonna probably put him in F, to be honest. Ned is clearly gonna be in F tier. I mean, he treats all of his children with like super high respect. He wants them all to be like what they want to be. I mean, he wants Sansa to do her own thing and be like a nice queen and like be like really girly. He learns more about Arya as her own person. He gets her her dancing teacher Syrio Pharrell, and like treats her more as, oh, she's not going to be just like some queen. She's going to be a really strong, independent woman who goes out and does her own shit. Like is raising Robb to be the Lord of Winterfell. He's training Bran at the very beginning to shoot an arrow. He treats Jon like pretty much like a member of the family. Not quite. Ned is Jon's father figure, or guardian, whatever, that even if he isn't his trueborn dad. And
You said Daddy.
Oh, right.
My son is studying to be a surgeon. I just hope he makes the cut.
He keeps him alive by not telling anyone whose dad, who his real parents are. That's super good, obviously, for your children, just like what Jaime did. But yeah, he's clearly just super good dad. Even by today's standards, like he's really good. You could arguably say he's a bad dad because he put his family in so much danger to put his own personal beliefs over the safety and whatnot of his family. But I wouldn't say that personally. I think it's just he didn't realize how fucked he was. Tywin's a really fantastic character and also an awful father. And actually, I think Tywin is going to end up in A tier because, I mean, when I think of Tywin as a dad, I mean, he is awful to Tyrion. Just
You said
awful.
Daddy. I once lost a banana at court, but then I appealed.
Yeah, I mean, he hates Tyrion. He hates him. He treats him very shitty. But he does try to give him some power and stuff. But that's only because he's a Lannister, not because he's his son. He's just so focused on his family power. He only wanted Jaime to further the family name. He didn't care about what Jaime wanted. Is he as bad as Craster, though? Is Tywin as bad as Craster? He treats his children like shit. Cersei, he also wants Cersei there just to further the family name. But he never physically, well, he doesn't physically harm them too bad. I feel like, and I mean, he does give them a lot of power. He gives them a lot of things. He just prioritizes that over their happiness way too much. And I mean, he doesn't even see that they're in love. Like, he doesn't know them at all, really. He doesn't care to know them either. So I feel like he's firmly an A. Actually, I feel like Tywin's a great example of an A tier bad dad. I'm with you, Desert Cobb. Craster literally kills his sons and sexually enslaved his daughters. No one's worse. I am 100% with you. I don't, especially even considering these. Well, Walder. Ooh, this is a good time to talk about Walder. Then he is very close to Craster. Like, he's very close to being Craster. He has a lot of children, and he loves having incest babies with them as well, and is a legitimate sexual predator. I actually think he's S tier as well. I think Walder is S tier bad as well. I think he's marginally better than Craster. He's better than Craster, but not by much. I'm with you. Better than Craster, but literally everybody. Okay, I'm with you on that. Craster is the S tier bar, while Qyburn is the F tier bar, right? Does he not? Wait, I thought he married his daughters. I didn't know that. I actually thought those were his daughters. Yeah, you're right. They're all not his daughters. That's interesting. But regardless, they are super fucking young, and he's super creepy. I mean, his children, he doesn't even know his children's names, basically. He's like talking about their names, and he's like, and then he says someone's name, and she corrects him, and he's like, fine. That scene is so funny. But let's do Sam. Sam, I think, is gonna just straight up be firmly in F tier. I think it's pretty clear. Like, he obviously doesn't have any true-born children of his own yet, but the way, I mean, he literally raises a kid named after him, Sam, with Gilly. But he's always trying to protect them. He's always trying to do right by them. He's always trying to get better for them. He's always trying to keep them safe. Like, he raises an incest rape baby as his own son, and he saves him from getting sacrificed. That's huge. Like, he obviously didn't have to do that, and that's, I mean, that kid would have literally died without him. He's on the level of Ned and Davos. Arguably better, to be honest. So let's do our last daddy. And is that going to give me a joke?
You said daddy.
Perfect.
How many South Americans does it take to change a light bulb? A Brazilian.
Sounds racist. Oh, okay. But anyway, on to Stannis. Stannis is, I think, he's certainly not a good dad, I think. In fact, I think I could, like, pretty confidently say he's a bad dad. I don't think he can go below A, ever. No, even if he was a fantastic dad to Shireen her whole life while she lived, which he wasn't, he still has to be really terrible. Arguably even S tier, because he legit sacrifices his own daughter. That's literally what Craster does. Okay, honestly, I'm honestly wondering if S. Like, the problem is he's definitely at least A, because he wasn't terrible to Shireen while she lived, but he was super neglectful of her and just wanted her to just, like, I don't know. He didn't care too much that she was just like a reading girl, but he was really neglectful. He was a C tier, and then he killed Shireen. You almost can't get worse than that. But arguably he's S tier bad, because he legit heard the screams of his daughter yelling out to him, like, save me, dad, help, help, and he prevented the mother from saving her, and like, that's really fucking bad. That's really bad. I'm gonna give him a low tier S. I'm gonna give him the lowest tier S. There's way more good dads than I thought. And I mean, of course, Qyburn is the best. If we're putting these in order, Qyburn's obviously the best. We're literally gonna create a row just for Qyburn. He just loves his creation so much. He doesn't care if it does bad or good. He just loves it. He loves what he's done. For the best dads, I think arguably, like I said, Sam is actually better.
You said daddy.
Oh, right.
I don't
daddy.
trust stairs. They're always up to something.
Haha. I think you're kind of right about Ned, that he kind of sacrificed his family's well-being for his own personal values. A little bit. A lot of it, actually. But he's still really great. He's still really great. I would buy if someone put him in D tier. I would honestly buy. I'm going to leave him in F tier, but because his children all love him, that's actually kind of a good point. I'm actually convincible to put him in D tier. Let's put him bottom of F tier. So he could arguably be, yeah. He is a great father, but he does... But are you a great father if you get your family killed and enslaved and whatever?
You said daddy. Why was the robot angry? Because someone kept pressing his buttons.
Ew, I don't like that joke. Let's get another dad joke to get our... We need a dad palate cleanser. Don't read too much into that. Say dad jokes. Dad. Wow, I didn't recognize any of that. That's really awkward. Quick, play me off, Ronnie. Now, despite being bad dads, some of these guys would not be terrible at running a funeral services business. Now, if that surprises you, my next video is going to elaborate on that. And that'll be right here when it's out. But in the meantime, watch this video where I take two of the dads from this tier list and simulate them fighting.